cinched home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs with their victory last week. They are perfect 7-0 here at home as we welcome you to St. Louis. Kenny Albert along with Tim Green. What a year it's been for the Rams. 4-12 last year, 12-2 this year.
And right now the Rams are playing the best football in the National Football League, and they're doing it because their offense. They got a solid defense. Their offense is in a great rhythm, and I think they want to keep that rhythm going today. The thing that makes their offense so special is the multiplicity of weapons. Kurt Warner's at the center, but he has so many different targets to throw to that if you're a defense, you can't focus on any one guy. And for the Bears defense and any defense that faces this team throughout the playoffs and probably the Super Bowl, you're going to have to play individually at your highest level to try to shut them down.
And the Bears still mathematically alive for the playoffs, albeit barely. They beat Detroit last week thanks to the combination of Cade McNown and Marcus Robinson.
And Cade McNown, they're excited about what he does. He's got confidence. He's got elusiveness. But I think the best thing that Cade McNown's got is a receiver in Marcus Robinson. Robinson allows McNown to throw that deep ball, just put it up there. Robinson outbattles most defensive backs. He fights for it. He comes down for it. The Rams defense knows this. They're going to try to put two guys on Robinson today. That means McNown's going to have to find the other open man.
Well, the Rams perfect here at home. The Bears hope to stay alive. The opening kickoff is coming up next. The Bears 6-8. Today's game is available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Dick Vermeil headed to the playoffs, his third season as Rams coach, 9-23 the first 2 years, 12-2 this season. Across the way, Dick Duran in his first year as head coach in Chicago, spent the last 4 as defensive coordinator in Jacksonville. The Chicago Bears have won the toss. Glenn Milburn, number 24, heading to his second Pro Bowl. And Jeff Wilkins kickoff fielded at the 2 by Milburn. Oh, and he takes a crushing blow from Leonard Little. 22-yard return by Milburn. Cade McNown, the rookie out of UCLA, leads the 8th-ranked offense in the NFL onto the field. 301 passing yards last week. Rex Tucker makes his first NFL start for the injured Chris Valerio, who is inactive today for the Bears. Enos with Halleck, Ingram, and Marcus Robinson, the wide receivers. And the tight end is John Allred. McNown out of the shotgun on first down. The catch is made by Ingram. Works his way up to the 28-yard line. A gain of 4 on first down. Todd Light made the tackle. It will be 2nd and 6. The St. Louis Chiefs. 2nd and 6. 3 wide receivers. Booker in motion. McNown can't find anyone, takes off, has the first down and more, slides up to the 40-yard line, a gain of 12.
This is exactly what Terry Bradshaw was talking about in the pregame when he talked about Steve McNair for the Titans. A quarterback that can scramble is a defense's worst nightmare, and Cade McNown has that elusiveness. He drops back, good coverage downfield by the Rams, and here's where McNown's legs take over, and Terry said it right. This gives a defense nightmares.
McNown is the Bears' second leading rusher. Ingram, his second catch for another Bears first down. Devin Bush forced him out up near midfield.
That play, we've seen it twice already. It's just a quick wide receiver screen. It's an easy pass for McNown. It gets him settled in. He zips the ball out there to Ingram. And then the key to it is how the other wide receivers block on the play. That time, Marcus Robinson had a beautiful block, and that's why it was such a big game.
And the ball spotted just inside the 49, so it is 2nd and 1 for the Bears on their opening drive. Off the fake end around to Ingram. McNown looking downfield, and he is sacked by Kevin Carter, his league-leading 16th of the season.
Kenny, we talked about it right at the beginning of this game, that the Rams defense was going to roll over. So they take the safety, Devin Bush, and they roll him over the top. That lets the corner press Marcus Robinson. They take Robinson away. Watch it here. Here he comes. There's the two guys downfield. See that? Two guys covering him. That's where McNown wanted to throw it to. He doesn't have anyone to go to. Kevin Carter gets another big sack.
Looking to become the first Ram ever to lead the league in sacks. 3rd and 4. McNown under pressure, taken down again. This time, Charlie Clemens along with Todd Light. 2 consecutive sacks for the Rams.
Peter Junta, there's the co-defensive coordinator right there, just calls the blitz. Here they come. Here comes Clemens. Here comes Light off the corner. Clemens, they come free right up the center. And McNown has defensive players on him instantly.
52 sacks for the Rams, 2nd in the NFL. Oz Hakeem, one of the best return men in the league. Good kick by Sauerbrunn. Good coverage. And a short return by Hakeem up to the 26-yard line following the 48-yard punt. The deep snapper, Patrick Manley, made the tackle.
To be jolly, follow. Get your hands up! Get your hands up!
Rams, the top-ranked offense in the NFL. 4 of their offensive starters heading to the Pro Bowl, including the quarterback, Kurt Warner. 36 touchdown passes, which leads the league. And the Rams start from their own 26 as Warner's pass was batted down at the line.
Yeah, Mike Wells got his hands up instantly. The thing Wells has is he's got a lot of strength, so you know he's going to get some push, and he gets the hands up and knock that pass down.
Wells, a St. Louis area native. Kurt Warner, 8 300-yard games, 1 shy of the all-time record. Orlando Pace heading to the Pro Bowl. Newton, Grunadoria, Timmerman, and Miller. Falk and Bruce also Hawaii bound. Roland Williams is the tight end. 2nd and 10. 3 wide receivers for the Rams. Warner looking for Torrey Holt. Terry Cousin on the coverage. Defensively, Chicago ranked 29th. Only Minnesota and Cleveland are ranked lower than the Bears defensively. 2 a day with Wells, Flanagan, and former Ram Brian Robinson up front. The rookie Holdman with Minter and Ricardo McDonald. And the secondary, Cousin and Harris on the corners. Hudson and Parrish are the safeties.
Well, we said Chicago's defense was going to have to beat the Rams at each individual position. So far, Mike Wells beat his guy on the first play. Terry Cousin beat Holt on the second play.
3rd and 10. And Warner's pass is caught by a wide-open Oz Hakeem for the first down. Tony Parrish made the tackle after a 22-yard pickup.
And this thing looks easy. This is, I think, the brilliance of Mike Martz, the offensive coordinator for the Rams. Again, he has a multiplicity of weapons. So the defense shifts its focus on to Holt and Bruce on the outside. And so look at how Hakeem was just wide open running across the middle. So there's Holt and there's the coverage. Actually, that's the play before. On
first down, off the pump fake, Warner with the handoff. Marshall Falk still on his feet. A penalty marker on the play as Falk picked up the first down, but it will be brought back.
One of the things that's impressed me most about seeing the Rams and watching them on tape this week is the running of Marshall Falk. And when you think of the Rams, it's a passing offense. They have so many weapons for Kurt Warner out in the field, and Falk is one of them.
Holding, number 80, offense. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Holding on Isaac Bruce. And Falk is one of those receivers out in the field, but as this season has progressed, I think he has gotten stronger and stronger as just a pure runner.
Falk and Warner, you would think, Tim, the top 2 candidates for league MVP. Following the penalty. No. 1st and 15 from the 43. And again, penalty markers, this time prior to the snap.
Mike Wells is setting the tone physically anyway. That was the Rams' biggest concern coming into this game, was the combination of Wells and Flanagan.
Number 97, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Mike Wells playing nose guard right over the head of Mike Grudadoria. A lot of times that center will move his head around. Here's Grudadoria right there. No, he didn't move a bit.
Falk on 1st and 10 into Bears territory, down to the 47-yard line, a gain of 5. So it will be 2nd and 5 for the Rams.
You know, Brian Robinson made the play on that. He didn't make the tackle, but he's the guy that slowed down Marshall Faulk. He did a nice job of getting off of Fred Miller. And these guys used to go at it because they used to go. Robinson used to be here with the Rams in training camp, and those two guys had a lot of bouts. There's a lot of bad blood between them.
They had some heated battles. On 2nd and 6, it's Falk again. Picks up the first down, cuts to the outside. Out of bounds at the 31-yard line, a gain of 17 yards.
And this is what I was talking about when I talked about Marshall Faulk as a pure runner. Watch the way he draws the defense up to the middle and then makes his break to the outside. You see that there? He has exceptional cutting ability, and he also has great vision. Watch the move, just the hesitation. He fires right for the center of the Bears defense and then breaks it to the outside for the big game.
Falk averaging over 5 yards per carry for the season. First down from the Bears 32. And this time Falk is bottled up. Brian Robinson, the former Ram, in on the stop.
Robinson so far is doing a nice job against Fred Miller. And Fred Miller had his hands full last week with Michael Strahan from the Giants, and that was the big talk. But Miller did a really nice job against Strahan. Well, sometimes when you go against the marquee guys, you get yourself all geeked up for it. And then against the lesser guy that you played against in training camp a year ago, you may let it lapse a little bit.
And Strahan named for the Pro Bowl this week. 2nd and 9. Warner was hit. Gets the pass away to Falk. And Falk is taken down by Warwick Holdman. No gain on the play. So it will be 3rd and long for the Rams.
And I go back, Kenny, and you know Dick Vermeil told us that, look, his biggest concern was these two guys here. I want you to watch Flanagan. He's working on the guard, Timmerman, and he just keeps working. He powers through him, and he gets on to Kurt Warner. What did Vermeil say? He said, you know, I'd love to have those two guys on my team.
So would a lot of other coaches. 3rd and 8. Rams best in the league on 3rd downs this year. Warner looking end zone for Torrey Holt. Off his fingertips and then nearly picked off by Terry Cousin. So the Rams will send out the field goal unit.
You know, Kurt Warner is playing with incredible confidence because he sees the safety roll over the top. You know, here's the two receivers. Watch the safety roll over the top. So he knows that he's got a safety who's going to be able to pick that ball off, but he still throws it in there anywhere.
48-yard attempt. Jeff Wilkins leads the NFC in points scored. And he is wide to the right. So Wilkins has missed 8 of his last 18 attempts. Still no score from the TWA Dome. Back in St. Louis, midway through the first quarter, with no score following the missed field goal, Bears take over from their own 38-yard line. And again, the wide receiver screen to Bobby Ingram, his third reception, forced out of bounds at the 44 after a gain of 6. As we mentioned in the open, Bears still alive for the playoffs, but just barely.
Well, that's right. You said before, 10 things have to happen. They have to win their final 2. Minnesota, Carolina, Green Bay all have to lose their final 2. Cowboys have to lose next week, and Arizona has to lose today versus Atlanta. So it is a very, very remote chance. But, Dick Duran was hanging his hopes on it yesterday when we spoke to him.
Curtis Enis pushes his way to the 45-yard line, a gain of 1. So 3rd and 3 upcoming for the Bears.
So far for the Bears, what we've seen has worked very effectively is that wide receiver screen. And I got to believe that Gary Crowton, the offensive coordinator, who's done such a good job with this young team, is going to continue to go to that. Just continue to have Cade McNown pitch that ball out to the wide receivers quick.
4 wide receivers set. 3rd and 3. Penalty marker on the play.
Yeah, I think Dexter McCleon may have jumped off sides. He was coming up on the blitz. No, somebody on the Bears side moved.
False start. Number 88, offense moving prior to the snap. 3rd down.
Marcus Robinson. Five-yard penalty, 3rd down and 8. As the Bears remain in their 4 wide receiver set. McNown from the shotgun on 3rd down. Under pressure, being chased. Fires downfield, looking for Booker. Incomplete. Dexter McCleon had the coverage.
This is what I was talking about when I talked about Cade McNown and throwing the ball downfield. Most of the time he goes to Marcus Robinson. This time he goes to Marty Booker. And he heaves that ball up there and basically puts it up for grabs. He says, all right, Booker, you go ahead and make the play. And he almost comes up with it.
Tony Horn now back deep for the Rams. Oz Hakeem suffered a bruised right thigh. So Horn will handle the return duties. Good kick by Sauerbrunn, forcing Horn all the way back to the 6. Not much of a return on the play. Wrapped up by Jerry Azuma. 54-yard punt by Sauerbrunn. Only a 3-yard return by Horn.
Yeah, but we talked about how good this offense is, and we talked about the rhythm, and you see the standard they've set this season. Total yards first, pass yards first, 3rd down conversions first, and points scored. And Dick Vermeil wants to keep that rhythm going into the playoffs. They won't play a playoff game until a month from now.
First down from the 9-yard line. And Waters' pass off the fingertips of Isaac Bruce. The Rams dropped 6 passes last week.
And Coach Dick Vermeil attributed it to the fact that it was such an important game for them to win, to lock up the home field throughout, to beat a team of the caliber of defense that the Giants had. And he felt like they played tight. Kurt Warner told us that his team, his offense, the only games that they've lost was where they came out early against Tennessee, against Indianapolis, and they did not have that rhythm early.
2nd and 10, Falk. Up to the 13-yard line, Mike Wells made the tackle after a gain of 4 yards.
Mike Wells.
Yeah, I think we go back again. We're talking about Mike Wells and we're talking about Jim Flanagan. Those 2 tackles at the center, and you see the relentlessness. We've seen their force and their power getting up into Kurt Warner's face. Wells knocks a pass down. Flanagan hits him. Now you see those big guys making plays on the perimeter as well.
Wells, we mentioned, a local product out of Arnold, Missouri. He has 130 tickets for today's game. A little lighter in the wallet. 3rd and 6, Warner under pressure, got the pass away, Torrey Holt, and he picks up the first down after the 21 and a penalty marker. Perhaps a face mask call on Terry Cousin, who made the stop. It is. Inadvertent face mask.
Face mask. Number 21, defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
Watch Kurt Warner. Look what he sees. Watch this defense coming at you. They come with a blitz, and it's on him instantly. Look how good a decision he makes to get that ball. He dumps it off quickly to his tight end. And that's to his wide receiver. That's just a great play by Kurt Warner. And that's timing, and that's the rhythm that he wants to have.
5 yards added on following the face mask. Bruce in motion. From the 26, Falk. Hit for a loss of a yard. Looked like he slipped when he took the handoff from Warner.
Yeah, but that was a nice job of controlling the line of scrimmage by the Bears' front seven. And again, that really is the strength. It starts, there's Wells. It starts with Wells and Flanagan. Then it goes to the outside, to their ends. And then it goes to their linebackers, which really have good speed and play aggressively. But watch them control the line of scrimmage here. That's really nice run defense.
From the 25-yard line, 3 wide receivers set. Ernie Conwell in the game at tight end.
Right here.
And Warner's pass is deflected into the hands of Falk. Marshall Falk made the catch after it was bobbled by Torrey Holt.
Well, when things are going your way, they're just going your way. Warner delivers this ball right into Azazir Hakeem's hands. He bobbles it, he bumbles it, he fumbles it in Torrey Holt's hands, and then Falk comes up with it. That's just a lucky bounce.
As you said, when things are going your way, and now Falk bursts into Bear territory. A gain of 15 more yards, this time on the ground for Marshall Falk.
Well, we saw the Chicago Bears defense control the line of scrimmage a couple plays ago. This time it's Orlando Pace. Watch Pace. Watch the block here. Look at the seal. The block by Robert Holcomb. They open up a huge hole for Marshall Falk. This is just great blocking. Look at Holcomb. There it is. Wham. He seals it. Pace blocks the defensive end to the outside, and that makes it easy.
On that previous play, Falk set a new team record for receiving yards in a season by a running back, breaking Amp Lee's record. Now the end around. Falk with the handoff to Isaac Bruce. And he's tackled by Warwick Holdman. Bruce's 4th carry of the season, a gain of 6. And right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Network Center.
Kenny and Tim, take a look at Chris Chandler with the play action here, looking for Terrence Mathis. Blown coverage by the slot defender Tommy Bennett, the strong safety. Mathis hauls it in for 23 yards. Arizona will be eliminated from the playoff contention with a loss. Back to Kenny and the noted author, Tim Green.
JP, I appreciate that. I'm glad you're still reading my books. And again, that's one of the things that had to happen for the Bears. If Arizona loses that game, that's one of the 10 things that has to happen for them to go to the playoffs.
They need all 10 of those things to happen.
Right. You know, you take them one at a time. You take the whole thing one at a time.
2 of the 10 are in their control. The other 8 are not.
False start. The right guard moving prior to the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Here's Adam Timmerman is the right guard.
Timmerman named a first alternate to the Pro Bowl, so if any of the selected guards are injured, Timmerman would go. Off the play fake, Warner to Falk. He could not hang on to it.
Mike Wells had that thing sniffed out. When you're playing against a screen as a defensive line, what you want is you want some guys to continue to the quarterback so that he has to rush the pass, but then some of them have to hang back to disrupt the play. So here's Wells right here, and he gets up in. See now Wells, watch him read it, and he's just going to pull off here. He just pulls off and doesn't continue with the rush.
3rd down and 9 from the 44. Warner to Bruce.
You know, Kurt Warner did it again. I mean, he just takes an incredible shot. Watch Flanagan and how quickly he's on him. Watch him. And wham, but he gets that ball off to one of the best receivers in the National Football League. Now here's Isaac Bruce, and this is what makes him so special. Watch him come out of this break here. Look at the separation he gets from the man that's covering him.
From the 21, the draw to Falk. Down to the 13-yard line.
Oh, God. Did you see that move? Did you see that little hesitation and that stutter right up the center of the field? And what that does is that clears the second level. You know, when you give that stutter, watch Marshall Falk. He'll come right up to the middle and he'll stutter. Watch him right there. He stutters, and that clears the second level. That widens the linebackers and the safeties. It spreads them out when you give that stutter. And then you can attack them with your speed.
68 combined yards in the first quarter for Marshall Falk. 52 on the ground. Robert Holcomb, his first carry of the game. Picks up one. Brian Robinson on the tackle as time winds down. This will be only the second time all season the Rams have not scored in the first quarter. The previous game, the loss to the Tennessee Titans. But they are on the move. As the first quarter comes to an end, Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. No score. Rams with 3rd and 1 coming up from the Bears' 12-yard line.
As with a lot of other things, the Rams offense is the best in the NFL in the red zone.
Warner has Jeff Robinson had it, and then it popped away, and it's intercepted. The tight end, Jeff Robinson, the intended receiver, and Sean Harris came up with the interception.
That's just a great hit by Walt Harris, really. I mean, you know, when your back is down there, you got to make a big play. And there's the hit. Pass that was in the player's hands, and Parrish never gave up. He made the big hit, and all of a sudden turned a touchdown into an interception.
False start against the Bears. Parrish the hit, and Sean Harris came up with his second career pick.
Now, I just think that it's easy to talk about never giving
False
up.
Start. Prior to the snap, number 71 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Big Cat Williams, who's got a tough job today blocking Kevin Carter. But as I said, it's impressive to see a guy do it.
5 wide receivers set for the Bears. And McNown spun around, stays on his feet, and takes it out of bounds. Could not find anybody downfield. Chased out by Jeff Skinina. And now for an NFL update. James Brown, take it away.
Hey, Kenny, Carolina had picked off Pittsburgh and had the ball at the 1 when Fred Lane fumbles it. Travis Davis picks it up, and guess what? He returns this one 102 yards back for the score. That ties for the second longest run in NFL history. It was 10-0 Pitt. Now it's 10-7. Back to Kenny and Tim.
Thanks, JB. That's one of the other things that has to continue going wrong for Carolina for the Bears to have this hope for the playoffs. So we've seen, out of the 10, we've seen 3 things. We saw Arizona losing to Atlanta in a highlight for JB, and then we just saw Pittsburgh beating Carolina. Those are 2 of the 10, and we just saw a great turnover. The hit by Tony Parrish and the interception by Sean Harris in the red zone to get the Bears the ball back and help them win this, which is one of the 3rd things of the 10.
5 of those can happen today, and the other 5 next week. McNown on 3rd down, fires downfield, looking for Robinson, who makes the catch. Marcus Robinson at the Rams' 30-yard line again. gain of 47 yards.
That's the best pass I have seen Cade McNown throw. This is an impressive pass. It's beautiful. I mean, Robinson gets separation just a bit, but watch how McNown places this ball in there. Remember I said he could put the ball up and Robinson will fight to bring it down? Well, he doesn't have to fight to bring this down. All he's got to do is hold out his hands and the ball is thrown perfectly.
47-yard pass play, 1st and 10 on the Rams 30, and McNown was hit by DeMarco Farr, picked up by Grant Wistrom. Wistrom takes it down to the 30-yard line. Bobby Ingram downfield to make the tackle. Rams have 7 defensive touchdowns this year, and it was DeMarco Farr bursting through the line. Now the Bears say they recovered the Wistrom fumble.
Wistrom wasn't going to let go of that thing.
You talk about not giving up. How about Bobby Ingram hustling downfield to make the tackle?
Great job.
St. Louis fumbled the ball. During the return, there was another fumble by a Chicago player. It goes back to St. Louis at this point. 1st down.
Well, this thing happens because of the play. And the Rex Tucker pulls, and Big Cat Williams has got to block down on DeMarco Farr. And you don't want to vacate space against DeMarco Farr because he will be in the backfield as he was on that. Now here's Ingram, and they said he stripped the ball out, and he did.
But the Rams recovered.
He stripped it, he got it out of there, and now Wistrom goes for the strip. And then Wistrom, he rips it out of there too. I don't know. That's something they may want to review.
Everybody's out on the field. The Bears offense, the Bears defense. Tom White pointed the other way when he signaled 1st down. He pointed towards the opposite end zone, but then he got back on and said St. Louis ball.
It just looked as if Ingram on the replay, it looked as if Ingram had possession of the ball and then was down. And if he was down by contact, then this is a reviewable play.
Both offensive units are out on the field. Can the offense for the Bears play against the Rams offense?
They're not going to cover anyone.
I will.
We'll let Tom White sort things out.
Now he's saying
Chicago's football. 1st down.
Well, there you go.
So 2 turnovers on the same play.
Well, yeah, but I think that was a good call by the officials. I think that after the replay, we saw that that's what happened. Again, here's DeMarco Farr. He shoots through, strips Cade McNown. Wistrom gets it. Ingram comes from the blind side. This is a great job by Bobby Ingram to rip that ball out of there. And there he is. And now he's got possession and he's down. And then Wistrom goes and he gets it back.
And now the Rams have challenged.
Yeah, but I believe that, I don't know why they initially said that the Rams had the ball.
I think you just said the wrong name because he pointed as if it were a Bears 1st down. He signaled Bears, said Rams.
Okay. And there, Ingram clearly has possession, and then he's clearly down, and then Wistrom, I believe, just wrangles it back away from him. And
now the Rams have challenged
Well,
So
that's
Tom
gonna be,
White will go over and take a look.
if it stays, that's going to be the second play by Chicago where incredible effort and an unwillingness to quit really turns the momentum of the game around. You know, Parrish on the touchdown pass when he busts it loose. And then Bobby Ingram coming from Wistrom's blind side and stripping this ball free. Of course, Wistrom is not used to carrying the ball. He doesn't know about, I mean, he looks like he's got it tucked in pretty tight, but he gets it out there a little bit. He lets that thing lag out there instead of keeping it tight to his body.
Rams may feel Wistrom was down before Ingram stripped the ball.
That's what they're challenging. And that's what Dick Vermeil was saying. He was saying that Wistrom was down before he lost possession of the ball.
If the call stands, it would be a very unusual play. Each team turning the ball over on the same play. A turnover by the Rams defense. But Dick Vermeil, who has already clinched home field throughout the NFC playoffs. So this game, of course, does not have as much meaning to the Rams, although Vermeil said he has never coached in a game that he did not want to win. Uses his first challenge.
Well, the Rams are playing with great confidence right now, and I think that if you want to maintain that confidence going into the playoffs, you need to win these last two games.
And they want to maintain their rhythm.
All right, now, the question is, when does Wistrom lose possession of the ball? And it looks like it's out right there, and then he's down. It's a tough call. And again, if it's not conclusive on the replay, then it stays as it was called on the field. Another look at it. It's close. But I think that Wistrom really did lose possession.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. The ball was loose at the time they were going down. Chicago's ball. St. Louis is charged a timeout. The ball is placed on the 29-yard line. First down.
Now, of course, for the Bears offense, they get to re-rec. It's first down for them because the Rams had possession, Wistrom had possession, and then lost it. So it's a fresh set of downs for Chicago's offense.
But they lost 41 yards on the play.
Right.
They were on the Rams 30. Now they're back at their own 29. So a loss of 41 yards. First and 10. Curtis Enis gets back 4 of the 41. Billy Jenkins, the strong safety, made the tackle. As we see the scores, Carolina trailing Pittsburgh. That is good news for the Chicago Bears. The Cardinals have tied the Falcons 7 apiece. Tennessee 14-0 over Jacksonville. The Jaguars' only loss came earlier this season to the Titans.
Of course, we saw Tennessee last week, and that home crowd is a huge advantage for them.
McNown taken down at the 38 by Mike Jones.
I'll say this, the home crowd here is not as big a factor as it could be, and it's not as big a factor as McNown and the Bears thought it was going to be. This hasn't been very loud here today. One of the concerns the Bears had was how was Cade McNown, a young quarterback, going to be able to make adjustments? But so far, this crowd has been relatively quiet.
And the Bears practiced indoors with speakers twice this week.
I mean, even this on third down, it's a little loud, but it's not definite.
Ingram could not handle the pass. Penalty markers on the field.
Well, McLeon, I don't know if he jumped off sides or if Booker held him. But McLeon did a nice job of accelerating upfield, getting past the block. And breaking up that screen. It actually maybe on Marcus Robinson.
Offensive pass interference. Number 88.
Yeah.
Offense. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Robinson's second penalty of the game.
Yeah, here's Todd Light, and watch, Robinson's going to come down. Actually, it was McLeon that Robinson blocked, and he blocked him before the ball was caught.
Sauerbrun's third punt. Horn from the 17-yard line. No return. Horn filling in on punt returns for the injured Oz Hakeem. Patrick Manley again downfield to make the stop. 46-yard punt by Sauerbrunn. Unusual for a game involving the 1999 Rams.
The Bears defense has done a nice job covering the Rams receivers and also blitzing Kurt Warner.
On the 17-yard line, Brian Robinson into the Rams backfield to force Marshall Faulk back for a loss of 2 as we head back to Los Angeles. And James Brown, JB.
And Kenny and Tim seeing a little pride play on a part of the Steelers. Richard Huntley, 25 yards to pay dirt. As Scott Ackerson, the producer, said, Tim, no quit in Pitt. I think he wants a chapter in your book. Back to Kenny Albert and Tim Green.
JB, I think you got caught in that rhyming game you guys had going this morning.
That's right.
With the bay and the play and... JB's a Harvard guy, though. We expect those kind of things. The word games.
We get it from the Syracuse guy up here.
Well, I'm not like a Harvard guy, though.
2nd and 12 from the 16. Ricky Prohl, the former Bear, makes his first catch of the day. Warwick Holtman chased him down after a gain of 7.
Well, Kenny, the Rams, as you said, have got their playoff thing wrapped up. They've got the home field advantage, and we talked about how the Bears need a lot of things to happen. And these are the teams in the NFC that control their own destiny. Tampa Bay, Washington, Minnesota, and the Giants. So those teams can, Washington can lock it up with a win today, a playoff spot, as can Tampa Bay, Minnesota, and the Giants. If they win out, each control their own destiny as well.
And they are playing each other at the Meadowlands today. Nice catch downfield by Hakeem, returning from his thigh injury, a gain of 18 yards. He took a hard hit from Tony Parris, but the Rams pick up the first down.
Now, I don't want to take anything away from Kurt Warner because he has thrown the ball incredibly well this year. We've seen him make great decisions. But watch Hakeem on this out and watch how much separation he gets. I mean, he's wide open. That makes Kurt Warner's job that much easier. And he's had a lot of those wide open guys this season. And as we said before, when he hasn't had wide open guys, he's made the throws.
First down from the 42. Warner to Robert Holcomb. Holcomb forces his way into Bears territory. Terrific second effort. And a gain of 10 yards.
When you talk about a multiplicity of weapons, you think about Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and Marshall Faulk and Azazeer Hakeem, but you can't forget Robert Holcomb and you can't forget Roland Williams and Brian Robinson, the tight ends, because they get the ball every once in a while, and when they do, they make something good happen with it. And Holcomb, as you said, the second effort on this play is a thing of beauty.
Good second effort by Holcomb, and the Bears fans very familiar with Robert Holcomb. He's the all-time leading rusher out of the University of Illinois. Play clock winding down from the Bears 48. Warner dumps it off to Faulk. Marshall Faulk racing towards the end zone for the touchdown. 48 yards.
The two guys that made, Faulk, you can go on and on all day, but the two guys that really make this play are Adam Timmerman and Mike Grudadaria. Watch these two guys here. Watch them come out. Look at the blocks. Watch the blocks up front. Wham, there's one guy out, there's two guys out. And then Tom Newton as well gets another block. So the three interior linemen out there giving beautiful blocks for Marshall Faulk and making it easy for him.
In a season with 37, only Dan Marino and Brett Favre had more. He breaks a tie across the 30 to the 34-yard line. Rams also have set a new club record for most points in one season. The 1999 Rams into the record books. They now have scored 2 more points than the 1950 Los Angeles Rams. They're starting from their own 34-yard line. The pitch back to James Allen. Only his 15th carry of the season, the second year back out of Oklahoma games 9, forced out of bounds by Todd Light.
But when you get into a game like this with the Rams and the kind of offense they have, you have to respond touchdown for touchdown. And one thing that I haven't seen the Bears offense do is get the ball to Marcus Robinson very much. They had the one big pass play to him, but the Rams defensively have not rolled the coverage over on him the past couple of plays, and I would think that's where the Bears want to throw to.
Robinson caught 11 balls last week, and this is number 2 in today's game as he picks up the first down. Dre Bly pushed him out after a gain of 13 yards.
And again, this is exactly what I was talking about. Because Robinson is no longer being double covered, here's the safety here, and he's not rolling over the top. So Robinson is covered man-to-man, and you got to take advantage of that matchup. You got to force the Rams to cover Robinson with more than just Dre Bly.
Wet Knight in motion from the 45-yard line. Enos. And he's wrapped up by DeMarco Farr after a gain of just 1.
75, DeMarco Farr.
The Rams defense has done a really nice job of shutting down the run game for the Bears. Of course, the Bears' run game that's not what they're about. They're about the passing game. And there's Peter Junta along with John Bunting, the co-defensive coordinators. There's Bunting with the backwards hat and the binoculars. These guys have done a fine job, but the Rams offense has enabled them and the defense to play much more aggressively than they have in the past couple years.
2nd and 9, off the play fake to Enos. The pass is caught by the tight end, Alonzo Mays, for a Bears first down. Billy Jenkins brought him down, a gain of 29 yards.
Well, when you have a quarterback that can run, this is what you want to do. You run the bootleg. So you fake the run this way, and he rolls out. He's a left-hander, so he rolls out here. A nice job blocking by Brockermeyer, who cuts down Wistrom, gives the throwing lane to McNown. And there's Mays wide open in the zone.
Only the 8th catch of the season for Alonzo Mays. First down, 1st and 10 from the 20. McNown picked off. The pass intercepted by Billy Jenkins, his 2nd pick of the year, and the 2nd Bears turnover.
Over the top. His bad decision is he throws that ball where he thinks Ingram's going to break to the inside, but Billy Jenkins sitting to the inside forced Ingram to sit down.
Now Warner off the play fake to a wide open Marshall Faulk up to the 32-yard line. And the Rams first down, a gain of 15 more yards for Faulk.
And now it's going to be really important for Chicago's defense to come up with a big play, because you can kind of sense the energy in this stadium that this Rams offense has all of a sudden got it going. I mean, they had the big score, the pass to Marshall Faulk, and everything's working. Everyone's blocking downfield, and they're getting that rhythm back, and the Bears defense has to do something to stop it.
48 yards, touchdown, catch and run from Warner to Faulk just moments ago. And here's Faulk again across the 35-yard line. A gain of 4. Barry Minter made the tackle with just over 5 minutes remaining in this second quarter. Coming up next here on Fox, many of you will see Mike Alstott, Chicago native, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as they take on the Green Bay Packers Packers with a chance to clinch a playoff spot, or the Buccaneers with a chance to clinch a playoff spot.
And what a great rivalry. And the pregame show, the piece on Warren Sapp versus Brett Favre, a defensive tackle versus a quarterback. And it's like one of those marquee monster movies.
Warner to Falk. Marshall Falk down the sidelines. Forced out of bounds. He stepped out. Chris Hudson after a gain of 42.
When defensive coordinators around the league talk about Marshall Falk, they always talk about how, as a receiver, you cannot cover him with a linebacker. Well, that's what the Bears try to do. Barry Minter is the guy who's supposed to drop into that zone and cover Marshall Falk. And really, there isn't a linebacker in the league that can cover Falk. It's not a disparagement on Barry Minter. It's just that Marshall Falk is that good.
He is closing in on Barry Sanders' NFL record for total yards from scrimmage in a season as the Rams call their second time out. Coming into the game, Falk was 293 yards shy of the record. He has 176 today.
So what will happen to all this now that you're going virtual?
We're not going virtual.
I read you're getting into internet trading, online cash management.
Falk show 29 offensive plays run by the Rams. 15 of the 29 have involved Falk. He has 176 yards combined here in the first half. From the Bears 21, Falk again. Upended by Frankie Smith.
And Marshall Falk having an unbelievable day. Just a little sample of the things that you've seen from him. Running the football, catching the football, and then running after the catch. Really, he reminds me of that commercial he had a couple years ago, the Nike commercial, where he runs across the bridge and bombs are blowing up and helicopters are chasing him, and he just runs through it all. He eludes everything. That's the way he's playing today. That's the way he's played this entire season. Superman.
He's been super today. He set a new career best for receiving yards in a game. Taking it all the way down to the 2-yard line, the rookie out of San Diego State, who spent his freshman year there as a teammate of Marshall Falk, Justin Watson.
This is a really strong run by Watson. Watch how strong he runs through the line of scrimmage. He gets that ball. Watch him use his legs. He runs right through one tackle. He runs right over another tackler. That's a strong run. You can't arm tackle Watson. Barely shoulder tackle.
First and goal, Holcomb and Watson in the backfield. Here's Watson, looks to cut it back inside. But he was forced back. Sean Harris, along with Ray Austin.
Well, that was good defense by Harris and Austin. Because what they did is they both lowered their centers of gravity. When you have a strong runner, we saw how strong Watson is, what you have to do is you got to lower. You got to get low down and then come up underneath him, and they both do it, Harris and Terry Cousin. And then Watson comes and bats cleanup. Minter almost got that ball out of there. The whistle had blown.
So a loss of 1 on the play. Second and goal. Warner working end zone. And there is touchdown pass number 38 on the season for Kurt Warner. It goes to the tight end, Roland Williams.
A lot of good things happening with this Rams offense. And again, a lot of it you see, some of it you don't see, because Adam Timmerman picked up the blitzer, and that's what gave Warner the time.
Wilkins connects on his league-leading 58th point after of the season's 6th touchdown for the Syracuse product, Tim, your alma mater, Roland Williams.
Absolutely, but watch Timmerman come. Now here's the blitz, the safety blitzes, and Timmerman just clips him, and that's what gives Kurt Warner the corner. And then because the safety blitzes, Roland Williams is being covered by Brian Robinson, a defensive end, and that's a mismatch.
38 touchdowns for Warner, but this is nothing new for Kurt. He averaged 61 touchdown passes per season in the Arena League.
And see that block right there, though, Kenny? That was a nice job by Timmerman, and that really, I think, signifies. Remember Marshall Faulk's touchdown? And we saw Timmerman and Grudadaria and Newton all making great blocks downfield. So everything is working for the Rams. And again, you get back to the rhythm, and Kurt Warner's entire offense is in a rhythm.
Brenda Warner, Kurt Warner's wife.
I just think he's only making $254 this year, a minimum salary for a guy who may be the league MVP. And then they have the cereal deal where there's a cereal after him. So there's an opportunity for him to pick up a little bit of money. But he and his wife, Brenda, are giving all the money they would make on that to charity.
But they get free cereal.
That's right.
No need to buy breakfast.
You're always looking at the bright side.
Fair catch called for by Milburn in the end zone, deep in the end zone. Tim, I know where you're going this week. Dallas, Texas, the Cotton Bowl. New Year's Day, 100-year-old rivals clash. The Texas Longhorns and the Arkansas Razorbacks in their first ever bowl battle. The Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl, New Year's Day, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on Fox.
So when I was a kid, I used to see those kind of games, like a Texas-Arkansas game and those big bowl games. And I always used to say to myself, if I can play in college, I'm going to go down there, go down south where football is king. Well, I didn't, but at least now I get to announce one of those games.
I know you played in one bowl game. Which one was it?
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Enos out to the 24-yard line as we hit the 2-minute warning from St. Louis.
Chris Collinsworth said it on the pregame. If Jeff George can win a big game in New York that moves them towards the playoffs, his ghosts of Christmas past will stay in the past.
McNown's pass was short, intended for Marty Booker.
How about Collinsworth with the literary allusions there on the pregame show?
Taking a page
Charles Dickens?
Taking a page from you.
It's been hanging around JB too long. Again, I'll go back to what I said before when the Bears did a nice job of driving down the field and then had the turnover. They need to respond to St. Louis's 2 touchdowns if they want to keep this game from getting out of hand.
3rd and 5. McNown to Robinson, penalty marker. As Robinson has the first down, tackled by Tajee Allen.
I think Olin Kreutz got downfield on that play.
Tackled by 20, Tajee Allen, penalty flag down.
It is against the Bears.
Kreutz was a heavyweight wrestling champion in Hawaii. And I think that's what makes you a really good interior lineman. I think he's the second alternate to the Pro Bowl.
Downfield, number 57 on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
He is the second alternate, and his teammates were really giving it to him. They said, Olin, the only reason you were picked as an alternate, you're from Hawaii. They want him to pay your expenses.
Well, on this play here, again, it's this wide receiver screen. The pass is out here, and then what Kreutz and the other linemen have to do, he's got to get out there and block a safety, and then so Marcus Robinson or the other receivers, they can cut that ball back to the inside. But as you can see clearly, Kreutz was way, way downfield.
Following the penalty, 3rd and 10. 4 wide receivers set. McNown took a hit. And the Bears will be forced to punt it away. And some extracurricular activity. Curtis Enos and DeMarco Farr.
Well, the Bears do a nice job of picking up the safety blitz. Here comes the safety blitz. And there's the pickup there. But Kevin Carter just gets his hand on Cade McNown, and that's what affects his pass. If you thought it was a bad pass by McNown, look at that. He grabs him right by the collar. So McNown unable to follow through on that throw, and it came up lame.
Now, we've seen Hakeem return to the game as a wide receiver, but he has not returned a punt since the injury, the bruised right thigh. So Tony Horn is back deep, awaiting Todd Sauerbrun's kick.
These guys here have done a great job, you know, and Jim Hanifin is their coach, their offensive line coach, and I'm really impressed with how they've gotten better and better. And I think the confidence of having Marshall Faulk as your runner, there's Hanifin, the chief.
A legend here in St. Louis, former coach with the Cardinals.
He's a legend throughout the National Football League. Former player himself and a great offensive line coach. Was a head coach here at one time. He coached back in the days of the Conrad Dobler, and they had a mean, nasty front. Yeah, Deerdorf. And he has done another excellent job of just getting a cohesive offensive line together, getting those guys to play together, to throw their blocks downfield, to follow through on each and every play. But you go back to having Kurt Warner and Isaac Bruce and Marshall Faulk and Azazir Hakeem and Torrey Holt, all those weapons just make it more fun for an offensive line because they know every block they make may count towards something big.
And Dick Vermeil has talked about what Timmerman has brought to this club, not only on the field, but off. As a former champion with the Green Bay Packers, the winning attitude that he brought to St. Louis from Green Bay.
And he brings the nastiness. I mean, Timmerman is a nasty football player, and I think he brought that to this offensive line. That's a compliment.
Sauerbrunn back at his own 5. Horn backpedaling to the 28-yard line. And he was forced out by Ray Austin after an 8-yard return, 52-yard kick. Well, on Friday, you're invited to bring in the Millennium Fox style. Join the fun when Fox takes you around the world for the biggest parties, live performances, and special Y2K updates. Celebrate a global New Year's with Fox 2000 live New Year's Eve starting at 11.
Just keep your dial set and watch the Cotton Bowl first thing in the morning. Roll out of bed around 11 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock here in the Central Time Zone for the Cotton Bowl, which will be the first big football game, televised football game of the new millennium.
First sporting event of the new millennium. Of any kind.
I imagine there's a cricket match somewhere in Australia. I don't want to go that far.
That's probably true. Or a ping pong match in somebody's basement. As Faulk makes the catch. His 7th of the game coming up on the Visa Halftime Report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris with scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will bring you up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa Halftime Report.
You see St. Louis's offensive domination again, and that's what has made them such a special team. 302 yards already.
What a catch by Faulk, and Warner has now completed 10 straight pass attempts since the interception.
Well, it's a nice throw by Kurt Warner. He lays it right up over the top of the coverage. He's got plenty of time. Look at the spiral he throws in that ball. And then Marshall Faulk does it all. I mean, he really does everything. He runs at the top of the game. He catches at the top of the game. He even blocks at the top of the game.
Now the Rams stop the clock. They have only one timeout. They lost one on the replay challenge. As we mentioned, as you take a look at the numbers.
He may break the total rushing yards today, the record.
The combined yards in a season from scrimmage. Barry Sanders coming into the game, Faulk was 293 yards short, so he needs only 81 more to set the new league record.
You say only 81, but for Marshall Faulk, that's a walk in the park.
And they want him to break this record. That's his 9th catch. 9th catch of the first half. For Marshall Faulk, he's also carried the ball 10 times. He has 167 yards receiving.
Well, again, the Bears' defense, they're covering him with a linebacker, and you just can't cover Marshall Faulk with a linebacker.
1 minute to go, first half. Rams leading 14-0. alone back. 4 wideouts. Penalty markers once again.
The Bears defense brought both safeties up and tried to hit those A-gaps, try to make something happen, and that's what they need, and I like that call.
Neutral zone infraction. Number 96, defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's a first down.
Clyde Simmons. Here are the 2 safeties, Hudson and Parrish, and they come up. And so what they want to do on the snap is they want to hit this. They want to hit those A-gaps and become disruptive on the 3rd down play.
It's Falk again. 8 of Warner's last 9 completions have gone to Falk.
One hand he caught that ball. I mean, he's making it look easy. He's making it look like he's in the backyard playing a thing. Look at this, just right in. Nice, easy, watches it in, tucks it in.
Falk here in the first half has already set a season mark for the Rams for receiving yards in one game. Warner looking end zone for Ricky Prohl. Incomplete.
Again, I like the Bears' defensive call. They came aggressively. They bring the blitz. You're going to see Ray Austin, 36, comes from the outside on the safety blitz. You see that? And Falk goes over and tries to pick him up. But Kurt Warner gets caught between a sandwich there. Frankie Smith and Austin both coming from the corner.
3rd and 9 from the 21. Pass intended for Holt, but he did not turn around.
Yeah, Holt didn't read the blitz because, again, the Bears, and I like the aggressiveness of the Bears defense. Gary Blosch, the defensive coordinator, doing a nice job down here in the red zone. Greg Blosch, down here in the red zone, and they bring the guy off the corner, and Holt doesn't adjust to the hot route.
Jeff Wilkins missed from 48 earlier. This a 38-yard attempt. Mike Horan is the holder. And this time Wilkins' kick is good, adding to the Rams' lead. It is now St. Louis 17 and Chicago nothing. 44 seconds to go. 2nd quarter. Well, Tim, tonight take a break from the holidays with King of the Hill and The Simpsons. Then don't miss the all-new Family Guy Y2K special, followed by your favorite, The X-Files. It all starts at 7:30, 6:30 Central tonight on Fox.
When I got to town yesterday, the driver that picked me up at the airport had a message from the Cigarette Man.
The Cigarette Man from The X-Files.
Yeah, and who's always lurking around and he's involved in these government conspiracies, and come to find out it was only our producer Rich Russo having some fun with me.
AKA the Cigarette Man?
I think Peter Bleckner, our director, is more of a
Sneaky,
behind the scenes,
sneaky kind of guy. Well, there's the elusive Glenn Milburn. Back to return the kick. Final minute, first half, 17-0 Rams lead. At the 15-yard line, Leonard Little, who has starred for the Rams all season, at least the second half of the season on special teams since his return. Coming up, Tim, on the Visa Halftime Report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the NFL. And our Fox Sports Ticker will bring you up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa Halftime Report. Bears with all 3 timeouts. They start from their own 16-yard line. Bears 6 possessions. They've punted 4 times and turned it over twice. Marcus Robinson makes the catch in between 2 Rams defenders. Todd Light brought him down, and the Bears call timeout.
It looked like Cade McNown got hurt a little bit on that play. He's holding his ribs, and he's got the big rib pads there. Yeah, I don't know what.
He did not get hit on the play.
No, he didn't get hit.
He's already wearing a knee brace. Suffered that sprained MCL of his right knee at Green Bay earlier this year. Now
He looked
bothered by the ribs.
Yeah, it looked like he was in some serious pain. There's Shane Matthews, the backup, warming up. Of course, Shane Matthews started the season and really did a fine job. Orchestrated Gary Crowton's offense really exceptionally well. Gary Crowton said, when Shane Matthews was in there, I could call any play and he could execute anything. A lot of quarterbacks, Cade McNown and other quarterbacks, have favorite plays, but Matthews would execute anything.
On 2nd and 2, Bobby Ingram has the Bears first out. Forced out of bounds by Dexter McCleon at the 32-yard line after a gain of 8 with 21 seconds to go in the first half.
Cade McNown wants to be the leader of this Bears team, and part of being a leader is doing some of the things he did last week. You throw 4 touchdown passes, but you scramble and you run on first down and you put your shoulder down. And then another part of it is, to win the confidence of your comrades is to orchestrate a 2-minute drive and put some points on the board going into halftime.
Out of the shotgun, 3 wide receivers. Some miscommunication between McNown and Marty Booker.
And Marty Booker pointed to himself, and you can see that Cade McNown is hot. But he's something is definitely wrong with Cade McNown. You see him hold that. He goes right to that right side as soon as he lets go of that ball.
From the 32, 2nd and 10. McNown's pass complete. It's Ingram. And the Rams keep him in bounds, so the Bears forced to use another timeout with 7 seconds remaining. As Kurt Warner heads back to the Rams locker room early. Well, the Rams have already clinched home field throughout for their first 2 playoff games. Tampa Bay and Washington, the other division leaders.
And then, of course, Minnesota and Green Bay, or Minnesota and New York Giants both control their own destiny. So they can make it happen. They're playing right now in New York. Last time we checked, Minnesota was on top in that game.
And the loser of that game will not control their destiny any longer.
Correct.
Carolina, good second half run. Dallas, 2 straight losses. Arizona, 2 straight losses. Minnesota still leading 14-6. 4 wide receivers. Final seconds, first half. And 2 seconds remain as the pass sails incomplete, intended for Glenn Milburn.
And if Cade McNown is suffering at all here, Jeff Scanina just made sure that he added a little bit to it. Scanina came in through and kind of drove him into the turf. One of the luxuries of having a big lead, and the Rams have had this all season, is that it's enabled them to roll in, rotate in fresh defensive linemen. And that's a great luxury because now your pass rush is always fresh, even in a 2-minute drill, which is when these guys most often tire out.
Final play of the half, barring a defensive penalty, and McNown is taken down. The fourth sack of the first half for the Rams, and the fourth of the season for one of those backups, Tim, that you just spoke about, Jay Williams. So that does it for the first half, with the Rams leading 17-0. The Visa Halftime Report is next after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
This from becoming a total rout.
So 222 of the Rams' 332 total yards for Falk, and the Rams defense with 4 sacks.
I mean, if you look at this is an incredible number. I mean, they could, if they double that, which they could do the way they're playing, I mean, they'll be close to 700 yards of total offense. So even though the score is 17-0, the Rams are just completely controlling this football game.
Kickoff bounces into the end zone. Jared Holmes handling the kickoff duties for the Bears. He was signed prior to last week's game off the Giants practice squad.
Well, one of the things, Kenny, that the Bears wanted to do was to try to limit Kurt Warner and the Rams offense from big plays. But you see here, they've not been successful. And big plays are runs of more than 15 yards, passes of more than 20. And the Rams have 7 of them. And it's only halftime now.
Rams start from their own 20-yard line, leading 17-0. Warner to the end. On first down, the pass deflected, and then nearly picked off by Jerry Azuma.
Kurt Warner throwing that ball to Ernie Conwell. And Conwell, of course, with the total knee reconstruction coming off that injury. And as good as the Rams are, it was interesting to hear Dick Vermeil talk about Ernie Conwell and say, this guy is a Pro Bowl caliber, and if we can get him involved in our offense, he's going to make our offense even better as we go into the playoffs. And it's hard to imagine this offense being even better.
This is Conwell's second game. He played 4 plays in a game earlier this season, making his return from reconstructive knee surgery. Isaac Bruce thrown to the turf by Jerry Azuma after a pickup of 9 yards.
Again, we go back to the things that Isaac Bruce and the other receivers do, and at times they make it very easy for Kurt Warner. So Bruce comes on the motion, and then he just drags right across the middle of the formation there. And Azuma has, Bruce just gets such great separation that it's an easy throw for Kurt Warner to make. I don't think I've seen 1 in 15 throws of Kurt Warner that wasn't a perfect spiral.
3rd down and 1, the end around to Bruce. His second carry of the day, and he picks up a Rams first down.
Well, Jerry Azuma saved a touchdown on that play, because Isaac Bruce had the corner. Tom Newton did a great job. Here's Newton here. Watch him pull out around. He gets the corner. And if Azuma doesn't make this tackle, Isaac Bruce is gone.
Azuma, a running back in college out of New Hampshire. He won the Walter Payton Award last year, top player in Division I AA. And he received a letter from Payton. Falk escapes the tackle attempt from Mike Wells, and it's Azuma again who makes the stop. 26 more yards for Falk.
I tell you, the execution of this Rams offensive line is pretty to watch. Again, the interior linemen, Grudadoria, Newton, Timmerman, watch all these guys come out here and watch them block. All get blocks. And then Wells, as you said, the only guy who had a chance, and Marshall Falk just high-stepped it and ran right through the tackle. These guys are doing a really, really fine job of blocking.
From the 40, Warner to the tight end, Jeff Robinson. Tackled on the play by Warwick Coleman. A gain of 6.
Again, I mean, the offensive line is doing an exceptional job, and they're making Kurt Warner's job that much easier. Look at the protection here. I mean, the Bears' defensive line barely gets off the line of scrimmage. They do a super job of protection, and that enables Robinson to stretch that route out to the outside, get outside the zone, and the ball's thrown perfectly again.
And with that completion, Tim, Kurt Warner has tied the NFL record. It's his 9th 300-yard passing game of the season. Falk down to the 24-yard line.
Now that was an interesting play, and I don't know if that was a mistake or whether it was just Mike Martz, the offensive coordinator, playing the role of mad scientist. But Kurt Warner basically has 2 receivers in the exact same area, Ricky Proehl and Marshall Falk. And Falk just hauls that thing in. It's as if he had the option to throw it to either guy. And he chose Falk. There's Mike Martz right there. And I said, remember after we called the Atlanta-St. Louis game, week 2? And I said then people were going to be talking about Mike Martz and what an incredible job he's done with this offense. Because you can have all these weapons, and it makes it nice. It makes it easier, but you have to put those guys in the right place. You have to call good plays. You have to attack the defenses. You have to strategize. And Mike Martz has done a brilliant job.
Ironically, he nearly wound up in Chicago. Remember when the Bears announced that Dave McGinnis was going to be their head coach? McGinnis was going to bring along Mike Martz.
Yep, Martz was going to be his offensive coordinator. But I'll tell you what, the Bears did real well with their offensive coordinator, too. Gary Crowton has done an exceptional job.
Warner to the outside. Ricky Proehl has another Rams first down. Rams on the move in the red zone once again.
Now this is just Kurt Warner doing everything right on this play. It's classic. He beats the blitz. Jerry Azuma comes off the corner. It's a cornerback blitz. He reads it. He lets him commit himself, and then he dumps it off to Ricky Proehl.
We mentioned a moment ago, it's the 9th 300-yard passing game for Warner, tying Dan Marino in 1984 and Warren Moon in 1990. And Warner will have one more game next week in Philadelphia to try and set a new league record. Isaac Bruce. Warwick Coleman forced him out of bounds inside the 5-yard line.
And I'm afraid that unless the Bears come up with another one of those big plays in the red zone, this thing is just going to get ridiculous. Just a little crossing pattern. Holt goes in. Bruce comes out underneath the zone. And again, on this play, makes it easy for Kurt Warner. Watch Warner's ball. Look at that. It's just, it really, you can't say enough about what a good ball this guy puts up in the air.
And the Rams offensive machine, as Warner had trouble with the snap, is over 400 yards as Warner connects with Bruce for Warner's 39th touchdown pass of the year, the first to Bruce in the last 5 games. And they call this the celebration, the bob and weave. Remember the Dirty Bird last year?
Yeah.
This is the bob and weave.
Yeah. They got Dan Reeves to do the Dirty Bird. I wonder if Dick Vermeil will do the bob and weave. The timing of this offense is almost indefensible.
12th touchdown of the year for Bruce. Even after the bad snap, Warner connects for the score.
Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Go, 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 go! Thank you, Detroit! We love you! Detroit was last night.
Rams leading 24-0. The city of St. Louis has never hosted an NFL playoff game. 28 years with the Cardinals, and then the Rams, they will the weekend of January 15th and 16th. Cade McNown's day is over. Somebody out across the 20, and then he is met by Lorenzo Styles. 23-yard return by Milburn. Matthew Matthews in the game for the Bears.
It's so delightful. Since
is just 33 yards away from breaking Barry Sanders' single-season yards from scrimmage record. So Dwayne is letting Coach Vermeil know how many yards away he is. I think we're going to see Falk, and he's going to try and bust it against the Bears.
Thanks, Pete. Barry Sanders has the record. 2,358 total yards from scrimmage. And Marshall Falk can very well set that record here today. Wants to do it in front of the home fans. They finish with a game in Philadelphia next week.
Well, I'm interested in that, and I want to see that, but I'm still interested in the Bears and what they're going to do with Shane Matthews. You know, Matthews has been a very accurate quarterback, and as we said before, he operates this offense with a real high degree of efficiency.
Tight end Ryan Whitnight makes the catch, taken down by Billy Jenkins. And for an NFL update, what's going on with the Giants and the Vikings, JB?
Kenny and Tim a lot. The question is, Kenny and Tim, what can't Randy Moss do? Take a look at him on this reverse. Terry Bradshaw says not quite a strike, but good looking enough. His first touchdown toss, 27 yards to Carter. 21-6, Vikings over the Giants. Back to Kenny and Tim.
Thanks, JB. Well, that's incredible. And of course, Moss, no one throws the deep ball like Terry Bradshaw used to. And the thing that impressed me, though, was that he made Howie Long's all-millennium tough guy.
Tough guy, that's right. 3rd and 10. Matthews to a wide-open Ingram for the first down into Rams territory. A gain of 27.
And this is what I was talking about with Shane Matthews. He really is a pretty good quarterback in this system. He throws a very accurate ball. He makes good decisions. He seems to see the entire field. And he can operate this system just the way Gary Crowton wants him to. He can go to his first, there you see him, he went from his first to his second receiver, saw Ingram wide open and hit him.
5 wide receivers, an empty set, an empty backfield. As Marty Booker, the intended receiver, unable to come down with it. Remember, the Bears have had 3 quarterbacks this year, McNown, Matthews, and Jim Miller, throw for over 1,000 yards. They're only the second team to ever have 3 1,000-yard passers.
Well, you're right. I mean, and as you said, they all threw for over 1,000 yards, but they also all played really well. They didn't just get garbage 1,000 yards. They all operated this offense, the real high degree of efficiency. Of course, the Jim Miller thing was a tragedy. The guy, did such a great job, and then was suspended by the league because he took an over-the-counter supplement that had some illegal substances in it. And you saw illegal, but banned.
You saw Craig Erickson a moment ago, who was signed to replace Miller. Penalty markers on 2nd and 10. There's Erickson.
It was a real shame what happened to Jim Miller, and I would have been pleased had the league made an exception to their rule in that instance. Especially a guy who worked so long and so hard to finally get his opportunity. He had it. It was rolling. Things were good for him with Chicago.
Holding, number 78, offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Back when that happened, I mean, he had them. They looked like they were going to make a late run for the playoffs.
Miller had back-to-back games with over 400 yards and then over 350 the next game. 2 huge games. 2nd and 20. Matthews picked off by Westrom. And this time, nope, he won't fumble this time. He's not stripped, and he scores his 2nd touchdown of the season, the 8th for the Rams defense.
That was a fantastic catch. Looked like Isaac Bruce. His hands on this play are so incredible. Watch him here. Watch him reach out and grab this ball. Look at that. That was a beautiful catch. I don't think I've seen a defensive lineman make a catch that good in my whole life.
As Wistrom receives a pat on the back from co-defensive coordinator Peter Junta. The 8th defensive touchdown for the Rams. Milburn. Milburn up to the 29-yard line before he was brought down by Jay Williams. 8 defensive touchdowns now for the Rams, including 2 last week in their win over the Giants. Devin Bush, his first career score, as he eludes Kerry Collins, the Giants quarterback who tried to make the tackle. And then Mike Jones picks off Collins and scores his 3rd of the season.
I tell you, though, none of those interceptions was as pretty as this one here by Wistrom. That was an amazing catch. He was headed for the end zone earlier in the game, and Bobby Ingram stripped the ball from him.
Curtis Enis gains 5 yards on first down. Billy Jenkins made the tackle.
You mentioned the Minnesota Vikings offense last year in their 11 300-yard games, and this Rams offense and this Rams team, they are the Vikings from '98. They have the most potent offense in the National Football League, but I think they're the Vikings plus, because I think that the Rams offense has more weapons, more ways to attack you, and the other thing the Rams have that the Vikings last year didn't have is a better defense. The Rams defense is much more solid than the Vikings. You really have to credit Dick Vermeil, but you also have to credit Charlie Armey and the job he's done of putting the personnel together, especially this offseason. The Marshall Faulk deal for a 2nd and a 5th round pick was the steal of the century.
And the Colts, of course, knew they were going to draft Edgerrin James. They drafted James, which led to the Faulk trade. You saw Paul Justin. He will come in at quarterback for the Rams. We are told that Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk are both done for the day. So Faulk will pursue the total yards from scrimmage record next week in Philadelphia.
Well, we'll get to see that.
Yes, we will. Dick Vermeil returns to Philly. He lost there last year with the Rams. Much different scenario this season.
Yeah, he will want. I mean, he as he said, he wants to win every game, no matter what quarter. But that one will have a little special significance for Dick Vermeil. I mean, he still is an icon in the city of Philadelphia.
Still up on billboards.
Yeah, you come out of the Philadelphia airport and there's Dick Vermeil on a big Blue Cross Blue Shield billboard.
Still lived in the Philadelphia area until he accepted the Rams job 2.5 years ago.
Well, he's got his place. He calls it a ranch.
He does.
It's about 100 acres. That's an East Coast version of a ranch.
Remember, he went there during the bye week early in the year, and he told us they lost the power. He couldn't watch the games.
Yeah.
Went to visit the grandchildren.
Defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
I think the special thing about Dick Vermeil this season is that he still works his team very hard, but he did tone it down a little bit. I mean, he has changed his outlook and changed the way he's handled his team. He's modernized his old work ethic, and I think he's done brilliant with it.
Enis on 2nd and 1 stops short of the first down. Another guy with a huge work ethic, of course, Tim, is James Brown. JB?
Well, all right, Kenny. Thank you so very much. Hey, Kenny, Minnesota wants it bad. Take a look at Mo Williams on a kickoff return after a Kerry Blanchard field goal by the Giants. He takes it 85 yards to pay dirt. It's 27-9. Vikings over the Giants. Back to Kenny and Tim.
Thanks, JB. 2 years ago this week, Vikings went into the Meadowlands and stunned the Giants in the playoffs. And now a big blow to the Giants' 1999 playoff hopes.
Well, Howie said it. The Giants are not a very good football team because their offense is not very good. And in today's game in the National Football League, you've got to have a high-powered offense if you want to win a championship. I think the days of being able to win with just a good defense and just a run game are over.
Delay a game. Reset the play clock.
Giants go into Dallas next week. Cowboys have also struggled down the stretch, losing to the Jets last week, losing to Jake Delhomme and the Saints on Friday. Delhomme, a former teammate of Kurt Warner in Europe with the Amsterdam Admirals. Now Matthews pass to Robinson, out of bounds at midfield. Fourth catch of the day for Robinson, and he ties the Bears' all-time record for receiving yards in a season. Jeff Graham held the previous record.
He's an incredible talent. He was a track guy in college until his junior year. He played football. And, you know, you mentioned the NFL Europe and how Delhomme and Kurt Warner and Marcus Robinson was the NFL Europe MVP 2 years ago. And you can't say enough good things about what that league provides as far as developing players in the National Football League.
In fact, 2 Pro Bowl quarterbacks as Enos is shaken up. Kurt Warner and Brad Johnson both out of the NFL Europe.
And the interesting thing about it is that every guy that I know who's gone over there, you know, Leroy Glover from the Saints, they've all said that it was a great experience.
Elevator to lobby. By George.
Contacts, $320.
St. Matthews hits James Allen, replacing the injured Curtis Enos. Allen down to the 42-yard line of the Rams, a gain of 9.
Curtis Enos, for you Chicago fans, did get up and run off on his own, under his own power.
Remember, he suffered that torn left ACL last year in a game against the Rams. We did that game in Chicago, and Enos suffered that injury. Here's Allen again. His second consecutive catch. Ray Bly made the tackle after a gain of 12 yards. So the Bears moving the chains, trailing 31-0. Just over 5 minutes remaining. Third quarter. Shane Matthews in for the injured Cade McNown, who suffered a strained right side. Played the entire first half. Handoff to James Allen, who had a big game last year in his first NFL start. He gained 163 yards on the ground in a game against Baltimore. 11 yards on that play. Another Bears first down. Bears working quickly. Matthews looking for Robinson. Good coverage on the play by Billy Jenkins and Dre Bly.
And that's really what makes this pass become broken up, because the coverage is so good. And Bly just gets perfect position. He runs with him perfectly, a little pushing and shoving. But it's the positioning that doesn't enable Robinson to react to that pass soon enough.
Robinson, a Pro Bowl alternate, hoping that somebody gets hurt.
Well, not really. Kind of.
The back of his mind, right. James Allen with second effort. The Pro Bowl wide receivers, Tim, Isaac Bruce, Chris Carter, Randy Moss, and Muhsin Muhammad from the NFC. And Robinson is the first alternate if one of the other 4 does not go.
I just think, Isaac Bruce is definitely there. And I've said all season that if you ask cornerbacks around the league, who's the hardest guy to cover, I think it has to be Isaac Bruce. As far as covering him and staying with him, the way he comes out of his breaks with such great acceleration, I think he's the hardest guy to cover.
First and goal from the 6. Allen stuffed to the backfield by Kevin Carter.
What a fine year Kevin Carter has had. Now, Dick Vermeil has been telling us for the last 2 years that this guy has the makings of a Pro Bowl player.
He's going this year.
Yeah, and it's a little stunt between DeMarco Farr and Carter. Carter has not only strength and size, but he also has quickness.
Carter and Todd Light from the Rams defense going to the Pro Bowl, along with 4 of their teammates from the other side of the ball. Matthews to the end zone for the touchdown. Bobby Ingram scores his 3rd touchdown of the season on the 8-yard reception from Matthews, beating the Pro Bowler Todd Light.
Yeah, it was a zone, and Ingram got into the soft spot of the zone. But again, you can really see the efficiency that Shane Matthews operates under. And there's Gary Croton, the offensive coordinator. Pretty good protection. Finds a soft spot in the zone between Todd Light and the safety. Matthews delivers a perfect pass.
And Chris Boniol misses his first extra point of the season. 31-6, St. Louis. 31-6, Rams lead over the Bears. 3 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. And the Bears setting up for the onside kick. 10 Bears lined up to Boniol's right. Ball is loose and the Bears recover. Barry Minter, number 92, coming up with the football.
Well, we've seen Chicago's unwillingness to quit on 2 defensive plays earlier in the game. Tony Parrish with the big hit, the Sean Harris interception down in the end zone, and then Bobby Ingram stripping the ball from Grant Wistrom. This is a different. No, it wasn't. He kicked it down. He bounced it down on the ground, and the key to the whole thing really was the hit. I mean, the hit there by 52 Keith Burns is really what made this play happen.
Burns, a special team star, former Bronco, and then Minter came up with the football. Marcus Robinson out to the 46-yard line, his 5th catch of the day. Tajay Allen made the tackle. Minnesota 28-9 over the Giants early 4th quarter. Close one in Pittsburgh. Steelers by 3.
And for Minnesota, if they do win that game, which it looks like they will, if either Green Bay or Carolina loses or ties, then Minnesota has clinched a playoff spot.
Minnesota 15-1 last year. They've lost 6 games this season. Bad snap. Matthews falls on it. Rams, of course, have already clinched home field throughout the playoffs. Tampa Bay will meet Green Bay later this afternoon. Washington plays tonight against San Francisco.
And even though Detroit is there, the way they're playing right now, they're not going to go very far at all. They're not going to do anything.
Matthews pass deflected by DeMarco Farr.
Because really part of going into the playoffs, the first thing is to get there, which every team, that's what it's about. I mean, that determines whether you have credibility or not, if you're a playoff team or you're not. But then what Dick Vermeil and the Rams are thinking about is not just getting there, but getting through it and winning the whole thing. And to do that, you have to have momentum. I think you have to continue to play well through these final couple weeks.
Terrific kick by Sauerbrunn, 58 yards. So the Rams will take over on their own 20-yard line. Well, the Rams headed to the playoffs. The last time the Rams franchise won a playoff game, the LA Rams, following the '89 season. Jim Everett in overtime, hitting Willie Flipper Anderson, who went running through the tunnel at the Meadowlands. Rams 19, Giants 13. There's Kevin Green celebrating in the Rams locker room. And on the right, their offensive coordinator at the time, Norv Turner, now the coach of the Redskins. Rams lost the NFC Championship game the following week to the 49ers, 30-3.
That's interesting. The last time they had that success, Norv Turner, and now Norv Turner's protege, Mike Martz, is here.
And Paul Justin, in at quarterback, airing it out on first down. The catch is made by Bruce. Penalty marker. Penalty marker on the play. 45-yard reception. It's pass interference against Bruce. Offensive pass interference.
Isaac Bruce pretty clearly pushed off on that play.
Tim, years ending in 9. 1969, the Rams, team record 11 straight wins. 1979, they went to the Super Bowl. 89, their last playoff. Here in 99, home field advantage.
Now that's an original graphic. I know you downloaded. I don't know how that downloaded out of your memory banks, but
just sitting there on a Wednesday afternoon. You were down at Disney World, of course. I was coming up with the lucky 9s. Justin Watson, games 4 on the 1st and 20 carry.
You were probably trying to get out of changing a diaper.
That could be correct. That may very well be true.
Yeah, I could see you telling your wife, Barbara, honey, I'm working on the lucky 9s right now. You're going to have to take care of her.
And we're doing the Rams again next week. May not have to change the diaper on Wednesday this week. Kurt Warner, 334 yards. Georgia on my mind. Does that refer to their owner, Georgia Frontiere, or the fact that the Super Bowl will be played in Atlanta?
I think it's the Super Bowl.
Paul Justin taken down by Flanagan. Final minute of this third quarter. Coming up next week, the final weekend of the regular season, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Chicago Bears, plus other regional action, the Rams and the Eagles, and then the Giants and the Cowboys. At 4 Eastern, coverage begins noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox.
Keith Lyle there, Rams safety, who's out with a shoulder injury. Anxious to return.
He's missed the last 5. His father played for the Chicago Bears, Gary Lyle. And that will do it for the third quarter. All Rams, they lead 31-6. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these words from your local Fox station.
The AFC, I think that the Indianapolis Colts, a team that beat the Rams earlier, is going to give them the competition if they both reach the Super Bowl. Then the other team that is a surprise to a lot of people, not a surprise to me and not a surprise to Terry Bradshaw, is the Tennessee Titans, who are beating the Jacksonville Jaguars for the second time this season and beating them soundly right now.
And the Titans beat the Rams. Tennessee and Detroit, the only teams to beat the Rams this year. And this will be the first punt of the game for Mike Horan. In fact, he went through a game recently at New Orleans in which he did not punt at all. He's the oldest player in the NFL, 40 years of age, a former Bear. Milburn lets it go. It takes a Rams bounce into the arms of Jeff Robinson. 45-yard punt by Horan. Will return in a moment.
On thinking you should have used Energizer, they keep going and going and going by K-Swiss Athletic Footwear and Apparel, and by AT&T One Rate 7-cent plan. One simple rate all day, every day.
Cade McNown chatting with offensive coordinator Gary Crowton. Bears take over from their own 39-yard line. Matthews' pass is gathered in by the tight end Ryan Wetnight. Tackled on the play by Charlie Clemens.
It was interesting watching Gary Crowton and Cade McNown talking on the sideline, and you can tell that coach-pupil relationship is something that they're going to continue to do even with McNown not in the game. They're going to continue to talk back and forth. And the Bears firmly believe that Cade McNown is the future of this team.
James Allen into Rams territory, down to the 47-yard line, picks up a Bears first down. London Fletcher made the tackle. Fletcher, a second alternate to the Pro Bowl. He's had an outstanding season.
London Fletcher really reminds me of Jesse Tuggle, a teammate of mine with the Atlanta Falcons, an undrafted free agent from Valdosta State. And he came in, and Fletcher, also from a small school, he came in and he had incredible explosiveness, incredible impact when he made tackles.
Bobby Ingram tackled by Fletcher out of Division III, John Carroll, better known as Don Shula's alma mater.
Well, you can see that Fletcher is about 5'10". He's 5'10", 241, and really has about the same build that Jesse Tuggle had and has. And so while a lot of people look and say, well, you're too short, I look at it and say, that gives you better leverage and better explosiveness when you make a tackle.
You mentioned Fletcher, 5'10". Last year, the Rams PR staff listed him at 6 feet. Normally athletes want to be listed taller than they are.
Yeah.
He was the opposite. He said, "No, I'm 5'10". List me at 5'10".
Well, I know Jesse Tuggle he's 5'10", and they list him at 5'11". I don't think he minds. There you see there a good example on that play. He comes up, he sheds the block by Olin Kreutz, and he can do it because he is 5'10", and it's actually an advantage. As long as you're a powerful 5'10", it can help you out.
2nd and 5. Nice catch by Wetnight as he crawls to the 17-yard line. Another Bears first down, a gain of 9. Shane Matthews, who was not drafted, coming out of Florida. He was cut by the Dave Wannstedt staff 4 times, cut 4 times by the Bears. Spent some time with Carolina, brought back to Chicago, started the first 5 games this year.
It would be interesting to see what happens with Shane Matthews after this season as well.
First down from the 16. Matthews to James Allen, inside the 5. Allen's had a productive second half after coming in for the injured Curtis Enis.
The Bears offensive line does a nice job of giving Matthews time, because Allen has to get all the way out of the backfield and then run this angle route all the way to the other side of the field. And the only way that you can complete that pass is if your offensive line gives you time.
Timeout called by the Rams. On 1st and goal from the 4. All smiles on the Rams sidelines. They lead 31-6. Live New Year's Eve starting at 11. 1st and goal from the 4. Off the play fake. Matthews rolling right. Can't find anyone. Now throws it through the end zone.
Well, Mike Jones really prevented that from being a touchdown pass. It's the bootleg, and Mike Jones had the coverage on Ryan Wetnight, who we've seen has made some nice catches today. And Wetnight in motion here, and he goes out, and then you see Matthews roll out of the boot, and he wants to put that ball into Wetnight's hands. But Mike Jones, you see him right there, he just got the coverage too tight. Matthews has to throw it away.
Second and goal from the 4. Matthews to the end zone. Touchdown and a penalty marker. Bobby Ingram made the catch in the end zone. Flag on the play.
Holding. Number 22. Defense. Penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Second touchdown of the day for Bobby Ingram.
I really like the way Shane Matthews just hung in there. The pressure was coming. He waited. He found his receiver. It takes a while to develop. And watch, here comes the heat. Here comes Scanina. In the end, he just waits and delivers a perfect pass. Ingram comes here, crosses over into the middle of the field. Outruns Billy Jenkins.
Bears attempting a 2-point conversion. Matthews to Allred. Off his fingertips. Mike Jones had the coverage. Rams lead over the Bears is now 31-12. Back in St. Louis with the Rams leading 31-12. Next week on the Fox NFL Sunday pregame, Terry Bradshaw recognizes the year's most dubious achievements from around the NFL. Don't miss the Terry Awards at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
I just wonder if he's going to have a special award for Jimmy Kimmel.
That would be a real special award.
maybe a plastic vomit, or an exploding snake can or something like that.
Another onside kick, and this one is taken by the Rams. Gray Bly What I want to know is, at what point will Jimmy Kimmel have his own awards? You know, Howie has the tough guys, we have the Terry Awards. How about the Jimmies?
No, because Howie and Terry, I mean, those guys were, championship players and Pro Bowl players, Hall of Fame players. They're not going to give Jimmy Kimmel an
Jimmy's
award.
a Hall of Fame prognosticator.
Well, yeah. If he does it year in and year out, those guys did it year in and year out throughout their careers. Marshall Faulk, he's done it year in and year out through his 6-year career.
Paul Justin, the quarterback, another former NFL Europe QB. He was originally drafted by the Bears. Never played a regular season game with Chicago. Hits Torrey Holt. Holt forced out of bounds after a gain of 8 yards. Van Tuene is the injured Bear. Jimmy talked about Terry Bradshaw's Hall of Fame career. He was the opponent the last time the Rams played in the Super Bowl. The Rams' only Super Bowl back in January of 1980 in Pasadena. And Lawrence McCutcheon with the halfback option touchdown pass to Ron Smith. Rams led 19-17 into the fourth quarter. There he is. Terry Bradshaw hitting John Stallworth 73 yards as the Steelers won their 4th Super Bowl in 6 years, 31-19 over the LA Rams.
So you really, and then he just went on to do more. He's got his own Terry Awards, and you saw him, he sings in a choir now, and he runs the Fox network pretty much single-handedly. Today, Fox Network, tomorrow, the world.
Does it all.
There's not much he hasn't done.
Clyde Simmons in to replace the injured Van Tuene. 2nd and 3 for the Rams from the Bears' 32-yard line as the umpire Jim Quirk spots the football. After the respot, now 2nd and 2. Justin Watson bottled up. Clyde Simmons, the 14-year veteran, 2-time Pro Bowler, hits Watson for a loss of 2. Simmons leading the Bears in sacks this year.
Well, they brought him in not only to be a pass rusher, but I think also to add a little zest to this Bears defense. Try to be a guy in the locker room that's a true professional and show the younger guys, because there's a lot of young players on this Bears team, and just give them an example of, this is how you last in this league for this many years. Take care of your body, and work hard day in and day out all season long.
3rd and 4. Justin's pass off the hands of Torrey Holt.
They had Clyde Simmons drop into pass coverage on that play. He actually, you talk about an old guy who's trying to do a lot of things. And he's there to be a pass rusher. He dropped all the way across the field into another zone. You may see him cross the camera here.
Milburn back deep, awaiting Mike Horan's punt. Milburn lets it go. And Rich Cody could not save it. Jeff Robinson.
Robinson just got tackled by an official.
The umpire, Jim Quirk, Vermeil not very happy.
That was something different. He tackles Robinson, and I don't know what Robinson did. There's some pushing and shoving there between Robinson and Halleck. Well, watch this tackle. He's not going to let him go. I got to tell you, that's going above and beyond the call of duty. That's a pretty good job. Robinson.
And the crowd reacted as they showed it up on the big Jumbotron screen.
Well, that was a good job, really. I mean, you know, I was talking with Jim Hanifin before the game, and he said last week they felt the officials let the game get out of control.
Sportsmanlike conduct, number 45 on the kicking team. After the touchback, that penalty will be enforced from the 20-yard line. It will be first down and 10 on the 35-yard line. 45 is ejected.
Second week in a row where Rams players ejected. Last week it was Orlando Pace. As I said, Jim Hanifin said that game last week got out of control because the officials let the talking and the shoving go back and forth too long. This time the official is going to stop the altercation by tackling Robinson.
Jim Quirk with his first tackle of the game.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, I don't know if they put a final onto the I don't know if they finalized the Terry Awards, but that may be one of them.
And what a reaction as Robinson heard that he was ejected.
Vermeil's hot because he, once again, I mean, it looked like Halleck may have given the first blow, and Robinson's the guy who gets ejected.
Jim Quirk, the senior vice president of a securities company, coming up with the tackle.
Know where you want to invest your money.
Ty Halleck involved in the altercation, which led to the ejection of Jeff Robinson following the tackle by the umpire. First and 10 from the 35-yard line. Marcus Robinson wide open. First down up to the 48-yard line, a gain of 13.
Of course, the Bears now 3 touchdowns down in the hurry-up offense. 9 minutes and change to go. Not inconceivable.
4 wide receivers set. And Matthews pass short, intended for Dwayne Bates, the rookie out of Northwestern. Curtis Conway out for these final 2 games, shoulder injury.
And probably with his contract up, will not be back with the Bears, because the Bears really have some nice young receivers. Marcus Robinson. They like Booker. They like Bates. Ingram has been very solid.
Ingram 9 catches today. Macy Brooks on injured reserve. James Allen caught by DeMarco Farr after a gain of just 1.
I tell you, though, the biggest off-season quandary in the whole league, though, is going to have to be with the Rams and what they're going to do with Kurt Warner and Trent Green.
Trent Green signed to the huge free agent contract from the Redskins during the offseason. Injured, knocked out for the year in a preseason game against San Diego after he completed 28 of 32 passes during the preseason.
And while the Rams people may think, well, why couldn't the Rams trade Trent Green? His bonus, his signing bonus, would accelerate into this year, into next year, and count entirely against the cap. So that really prohibits trading Trent Green. Now, they hold Kurt Warner's rights. He can't be any kind of a free agent, not even a restricted free agent. He is completely tied up by the Rams. But I don't know what you do. I mean, these guys both deserve to be starters in the National Football League.
It's a good problem to have.
But it's a real problem.
But it is a problem. And on 4th and 9, Matthews pass incomplete, intended for Marcus Robinson. And Dick Vermeil has gone out of his way during this run by the Rams to mention Trent Green, to keep him, to make him feel part of this football team. And Vermeil feels Green may have done just as well as Warner this year.
And he may very well be right. Trent Green had an incredible preseason. And again, I really believe that if you go back, and the same thing holds true for Chicago, if you have a really sharp, innovative offensive coordinator, which the Rams do with Mike Martz and the Bears do with Gary Crowton, then you can sometimes interchange. If you have a capable quarterback and you give him a good system and good players around him, then you can have different quarterbacks.
Justin Watson gains 2 yards on first down. It will be a very interesting situation to watch during the offseason and then during training camp next year with the St. Louis Rams.
Well, you know, one thing, though, that you can't replace is the experience that Kurt Warner has had this season. The Rams are, obviously, they've won their division. They're a playoff team. I think they're going to be a championship team. I think that the Rams are going to win the whole thing. And you can't, you know, Trent Green hasn't had that. And that gives Kurt Warner an edge, because even if they both are equally talented and equally mobile and equally strong arm and equally smart, Kurt Warner has an experience that Trent Green doesn't have.
Paul Justin's pass is caught by Roland Williams. The tight end, Chris Hudson, made the tackle after a gain of 2. Trent Green had a very good year last year with the Redskins, but they missed the playoffs. He came home. He's a St. Louis native, signed the big contract. But Warner's season has been just incredible. A guy who never started a game in the NFL until this year, out of the Arena League, NFL Europe, did not play in college until his senior year.
And I don't think Kurt Warner, after the season he's had this year, is going to take it if he's not a starter here next year. I really don't. I don't think that he will allow that to happen. I think he'll do something about it. I think he'll hold out. I don't think that he will accept that.
Timeout called by the Rams midway through the fourth quarter. Coming up on Fox, it'll be the Packers and the Buccaneers back on October 10th. A 3-point Green Bay victory. Brett Favre, 21-yard touchdown pass to Antonio Freeman with 1:05 remaining. Packers won it 26-23. The rematch later today in Tampa.
Well, that was one of the better football games of the season, that first game. And you have to see the second one. These are two really good teams, and you know, Brett Favre is the standard for NFL quarterbacks. Despite the fact that Kurt Warner's outplayed him this season, you know, Brett Favre is still, again, he's still a Super Bowl champion quarterback, a 3-time NFL MVP.
And Kurt Warner will start the Pro Bowl for the NFC. Paul Justin with the completion for a Rams first down. Torrey Holt, a gain of 17. Jerry Azuma made the tackle.
It's a nice throw by Justin. Holt just runs a post pattern here, breaks to the center of the field, and the ball delivered right on the mark. Again, the advantage that winning by a large margin gives you, and has given the Rams all season, is some of the younger guys and the less experienced guys have been able to get NFL experience because the Rams have won by such wide margins.
Here's Holcomb, finds a big hole, down to the Bears 12. Everybody getting into the act. 17-yard gain for Holcomb.
Well, we said it before, when Holcomb gets a chance to get his hands on the ball, he really gives you a nice effort.
And that sign said it all. Who are you going to cover?
That's right.
Too many weapons.
Again, a nice block by Timmerman. He blocks the linebacker, opens up the hole. There's Timmerman right there on Holdman. So again, it's nice blocking by this Rams offensive line.
On the 12-yard line, Justin following the pump fake, the handoff to Holcomb. Down to the 6.
I think the Rams want to let Robert Holcomb get a taste of the end zone, because he has done a nice job. Classic draw play. They set up, make it look like pass. The offensive line pass blocks, open up a hole at the last second, and then Holcomb just drives to the 5. I guess they're not going to let him get a taste of the end zone.
Holcomb gets a breather. James Hodgins in the backfield with Justin Watson. This is Watson. He fumbled. Bears say they have it. And the center, Mike Rittidoria, came up with the football following the fumble by Watson. And a timeout called by the Bears. Tony Parrish with the hit, forcing the fumble.
Yeah, I don't know. Did Parrish force it, or did Mike Wells look like he might have loosened it up in there when he spun around and kind of threw a back fist in there? Minnesota locking up their win against the Giants.
Pittsburgh over Carolina by 10. Falcons in a rout over the slumping Arizona Cardinals, and Tennessee will beat Jacksonville for the second time this year.
I think just as importantly is the fact that quarterback Mark Brunell for Jacksonville hurt his leg as an injured knee. Indianapolis came back against Cleveland, ahead by a point, but 4 seconds left, so you have to wonder if someone's setting up for a field goal. Cleveland's setting up for a field goal.
Penalty markers on 3rd and 3. It's a false start against the Rams.
False start. Number 84 offense moving prior to the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
I loved what Dick Vermeil said to us when I asked him about what he learned from going to the Super Bowl the first time with the Eagles and what lessons he was going to apply to this playoff run. And he said, I'm just going to do what I did, knowing full well that if we win, then everything I did was right, and if we lose, then everything I did was wrong. When we won the NFC Championship that season, they said we got in because of our hard work, and then we lost in the Super Bowl, and they said we lost because I overworked them.
Last year, there were many complaints that Dick Vermeil was overworking the Rams. They finished 4-12.
He did cut back. I mean, he really did cut back on some of the workload for his players, and I think you have to do that with free agency and the limited amount of players you can have on your roster. And I think no one exemplifies that more than Isaac Bruce. And Al Saunders, the wide receivers coach, did I think a brilliant thing by limiting the amount of practice snaps Isaac Bruce could have.
High snap. Nice recovery by the holder, Horan, and Wilkins connects from 28. Extending the Rams' lead to 34-12.
Kenny, not that many teams have won their entire division, have swept their division. The Elite Eight, teams with 8-0 division records since 1970. Then you see what they've done. And 3 of the 7 prior to the Rams have won the Super Bowl,
including Denver last year. Dallas also won the division in a sweep last year, but they went 2-6 outside the NFC East. What I think, Tim, makes this even more impressive, going 8-0 in the division. Last year, the Rams went 0-8 in the division.
It's an amazing turnaround. And then you look at the 2 Super Bowl teams last year, Denver and Atlanta. They both had miserable seasons. Of course, both of them lost Pro Bowl running backs as well.
And Denver lost a Hall of Fame quarterback.
The thing about the Rams, the other exciting thing, if you're a Rams fan, is that they have all their players signed up for next year. I mean, Marshall Faulk is locked in for a while, and Kurt Warner's locked in, and Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Azazir Hakeem, their offensive linemen. So I don't expect, barring a major injury, I would expect the Rams to not only have a great season to finish this up, but also to continue to be strong next year.
They will make it 13-2 this season with a victory here today. And coming up, of course, on New Year's Day on Saturday,
for the people in Chicago and St. Louis. So that means celebrate the new millennium. Roll out of bed, have an aspirin if you need it. Get ready for a day of football.
Tim, enjoy the trip to Dallas. We'll see you Saturday night. You have a double dip next weekend. The Cotton Bowl on Saturday, and then the Rams and the Eagles on Sunday.
Kind of feel like Marshall Faulk.
Can't beat that.
No. Trying to do it all.
Marshall Faulk, 258 combined yards today, so Next Sunday in Philadelphia, he will attempt to set a new NFL record for total yards from scrimmage in one season. He's 35 shy of Barry Sanders' record. Kurt Warner will attempt to become the only quarterback in league history not named Dan Marino to throw for 40 touchdowns in one season.
I would expect both of them to do it, and I would expect the Rams to continue to try to do exactly what they did today, which was to establish that offensive rhythm, to keep that machine kind of honed in, working efficiently and effectively, because they're going to have a bye in the first week of the playoffs. And I don't think you want to go more than that, more than a week off before you play a very important game. You know, Howie said something interesting in the pregame. He talked about the Redskins possibly being the team that he felt was going to give the Rams the best competition in the NFC.
Mike Martz was with Washington, the offensive coordinator, last year.
Yeah, and you know, Washington, because of their run game, and how he said it, because of Stephen Davis, they have the capacity to control the ball and to keep it out of the explosive Rams offense. But I still say that when it comes down to defenses,
to the head, number 20 on the defense, the penalty is declined. We'll take the result of the play. First down.
the Rams defense is pretty clearly superior to the Redskins defense, and that will give them an edge. And their offense is better too. Again, it's the best offense in the league right now.
Matthews intended for Wet Knight, and a penalty marker. Mike Morton on the coverage, the former Raider. And Tim, for the Chicago Bears, they will be eliminated from playoff contention with the loss today.
Pass interference, number 58, defense. It's a first down.
Bears will wrap up their season hosting Tampa Bay next week, but many positives in Dick Duran's first season.
I know Dick Duran told us last night, he said, well, you asked him, are you better off than you expected? He said, no, I expected to be 14-0 at this point in time. But realistically, I think this Bears team has done better than almost everyone except people in the organization thought they would be.
And they will also have decisions to make as far as the quarterback position, aside from Cade McNown. With Shane Matthews, do you bring back Jim Miller? Craig Erickson is now a Chicago Bear. Coming up next, many of you will see the rematch, the Green Bay Packers. What a crazy year it's been in the NFC Central. Many people expected the Vikings to walk away with it. Matthews, corner of the end zone, incomplete. Bobbled, and then Booker was out of bounds.
It was a nice throw by Matthews, and Booker definitely had an opportunity to haul this thing in and score. He does a nice job of beating the coverage, and the ball's thrown in there nicely. Would have been tough, but those are the kind of plays that you do have to make.
3rd and 3 from the Rams' 10-yard line. James Allen extends and looks to have the first down. Another penalty marker on the play as London Fletcher makes the stop.
You got to love watching London Fletcher and his body language after he makes a tackle. The London Fletcher will tell you that he's the best linebacker in the league.
Number 89, offense, moving prior to the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down. Please reset the game clock.
I like his confidence. I compare him to Jesse Tuggle, the Falcons all-pro linebacker.
Matthews throws it through the end zone, looking for the rookie Dwayne Bates. 4 minutes to go, 4th quarter. Rams leading 34-12 as they will make it 13-2 with their 7th consecutive victory. 8-0 at home. Tennessee Titans as well. Perfect home season. The only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL at their home stadium. 4th down, 4th and 8 from the 15. And the Rams will take over on downs. Matthews looking for Marty Booker.
Well, that's the second time today we've seen DeMarco Farr be just too quick for the Bears offensive line, because he rushed Shane Matthews. It's the wide receiver screen, but DeMarco Farr shot through there like he was fired out of a cannon. Watch him shoot through the line of
the pitch back to Justin Watson. Good second effort by Watson. All the way up to the 29-yard line. He was stopped at the line of scrimmage and then gained 9 yards. Rams approaching 500 yards in total offense, 258 for Marshall Faulk. Kurt Warner, his 9th 300-yard game, tying a league record. 39 touchdown passes, 5th all-time, and then moving up the charts. He is now tied for 3rd with Brett Favre. He was 5th coming into the game. Over 4,000 yards for the season for Kurt Warner. And the Rams approaching 500 points. Only 5 teams in NFL history have scored 500 points in one season. Watson stopped a yard shy of the first down.
Well, Watson's having a good time out there. You can hear him from here. You can hear him huffing and puffing and exerting all kinds of noises and energy and running hard out there.
Watson has the first down on 3rd and 1.
Carolina has lost now. The final score there, 20-30, losing to Pittsburgh. So that means for Tampa Bay, they'll clinch a playoff spot with a win in the 4 o'clock game.
Rams, 1st and 10, their own 27.
2.5 remaining. 34-12. Rams lead. Justin had trouble with the snap. Pitch back to Justin Watson. As we approach the 2-minute warning. But first a timeout called by the Bears.
Beautiful interception. Best interception I've seen by a defensive lineman.
You never caught one like that?
No.
In practice?
Not even close.
Watson forced back by Clyde Simmons. And now we hit the 2-minute warning. All Rams, 41-12 over the Bears. Game would be here the following week.
And if they win that, on to Georgia.
And there will only be 1 week between the championship games and the Super Bowl this year, not the extra week, because the season began 1 week later than usual. Barry Azuma with the coverage on Tony Horn.
Green Bay, Tampa Bay game is next here.
As we roll through the scores one more time, Tennessee, 5 touchdowns for Steve McNair. Indianapolis with the victory over Cleveland. Baltimore now 8-7. Strong second half of the year for Brian Billick's Ravens. Moran, a couple of penalty markers he may have been run into by Keith Burns. .61 yards on the punt and the roll.
Number 42, offense. It's a 10-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
So they will do it again. It's against James Hodgins.
Oh,
Minute 36 remaining.
Well, Dick Duran wanted to use these last 3 games to start Cade McNown and let him further his study under Gary Crowton and learn this offense. And McNown, of course, left today with an injury to his side. But he did a nice job while he was in. 9 for 6, 125 yards. He did have 1 touchdown, which was a bad decision. But the thing that impressed me the most was the beautiful throw he had down the sideline to Marcus Robinson.
And the fans in Chicago excited about that combination for years to come. Robinson, 6 catches today. Set a Bears club record for receiving yards in one season. Milburn, another penalty flag. As Milburn is tackled by London Fletcher, doing the job on special teams as well. 40-yard punt this time, 10 yards on the return by Milburn.
Holding, number 86 on the receiving team. During the kick, there'll be a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Marty Booker called for the hold. The Vikings clinched a playoff berth with their victory over the Giants and the Carolina loss. So the Vikings are in. And Tampa Bay has also clinched with the Carolina loss and the Giants loss.
Next, against the Buccaneers down in Tampa Bay.
Pass intended for Bates, broken up by Dre Bly.
I think Dre Bly kind of signifies the younger players on this team, and Dick Vermeil's really happy with a lot of the younger guys that Charlie Army and his group have gotten together, and that's excellent coverage right there by Bly. Nice hand battle, nice positioning, and then turns on the ball at just the right moment and knocks a pass down.
John Allred makes the catch at the 43-yard line, a gain of 8. Clock continues to run. Bears do not have any timeouts remaining. Bobby Ingram out at the Rams 35.
Nice throw by Shane Matthews.
And Ingram has set a new personal best with 12 receptions today. 12 catches for 131 yards. Matthews looking for Ingram again. This time overthrows him.
I think Shane Matthews saw that McLeon had really tight coverage, so he threw that ball back to Ingram's inside shoulder, and Ingram just didn't have enough time to react to it.
35 seconds remaining. Career day for Ingram. He caught 10 last week against the Lions. Number 13 for Ingram, down to the 23-yard line. Matthews looking to spike it. Stops the clock with 16, now 15 seconds remaining.
Marshall Faulk, as you said, everyone said, spectacular day today, running and receiving.
258 combined yards for Faulk. Penalty markers.
False start. Number 79, offense, moving prior to the snap. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Barry Wisney, the rookie from Notre Dame.
When you talk about Marshall Faulk and Kurt Warner, again, that entire offensive squad and really the entire team playing with a very high level of confidence. Finishing plays, finishing blocks.
Matthews to the tight end, Allred, but the Rams keep him out of the end zone, and time will probably expire. Bears cannot stop the clock, and that will do it. So the Rams defense keeps Allred out of the end zone following the 27-yard pass play. Rams win it 34-12. Kenny Albert for Tim Green saying so long from St. Louis. Stay tuned for the second game of our doubleheader. Those of you in St. Louis will return to local programming. The rest of you will see the Packers and the Buccaneers right after these messages. For more information on today's game and the latest NFL news, log on to foxsports.com.